Yeah, the lady's name's Fran. That just came to me, Fran. Welcome to the PG Mutual National Championships at the David Ross Sports Village at the University of Nottingham. And we join a final match at the group stage in the para men's singles. This event includes players who are classified 7, 8, 9 and 10, all playing in the same event. It's interesting at the Olympics, the Paralympics, I should say, that there are 11 classifications. The first 5 for wheelchair players, the next 5, 6 to 10 for standing players, and then there is an 11th category for athletes with an intellectual disability. So 11 gold medals up for grabs when we go to Tokyo in a few years' time for the Paralympics. And indeed, the gentleman in black there on the right of the screen, Will Bailey, won a gold medal 2 years ago in Rio, beating one of the Brazilian players, a very exciting player, right-handed topspin player. We'll see Will stay close to the table, look to dominate with his forehand and backhand topspins. A great moment in Rio when he took the gold medal. He jumped on the table. How on earth he got up on that table, I don't know, but he did. Strode the table, was shown a yellow card by the umpire, and he proceeded to hug her in his delight at having won a gold medal. A great moment, a great sporting moment. And there's his opponent, Billy Shilton. Billy, a young player who's improving every time I see him play. And now we're just about to start. And a backhand topspin there from Billy Shilton off the end of the table. First point to Will Bailey. It's the best of 5 games, each game to 11 points. First player to win 3 games is the victor. Good topspins from Shilton. Good technique, good use of the elbow and the wrist. Strong topspin on the diagonal from Shilton. So it really is an interesting competition here between these two players. Will Bailey, 31 years of age, has been a legend in para table tennis, a world champion, a gold medalist at the Paralympics. And this is the young pretender. And there he is, Billy Shilton. And it's only a question of time, obviously, when the youngster succeeds the master. Just stretching a little bit, Shilton, for that forehand topspin, overhit it. Second serve coming up in this sequence of 2 for Bailey. Three points apiece. Bailey awarded an MBE for his services to sport. Great ambassador for the game. I've had the pleasure of actually commentating with him on quite a few occasions. Indeed, at the last World Championships, the World Team Championships in Halmstad, he was part of the ITTF, the International Table Tennis Federation commentary team. Playing from a slightly cramped position there, Shilton. We just see that on the replay. This is the one, starting to see him lean a little bit. He lost a little bit of control. Bailey now with a 2-point lead and his 2 serves to come. Good angle on the flick return from Shilton, out wide to the Bailey forehand. Will just not quite quick enough to get across. Good positive return. 2 points against the service for Billy Shilton, the 20-year-old from Stonehouse. Oh, it's great play. Very consistent topspins from Shilton. Their backhands and forehands. See this on the replay. That's an excellent backhand topspin. Really good technique. And it's relentless topspin, spraying the ball around the table that win the point for Shilton. Clever backhand topspin from Bailey there. Brushed up the back of the ball. We'll see it on the replay. Comes up the back. A lot of topspin on the ball, not quite as much speed. And the player is entitled to towel down every 6 points. And Bailey taking the opportunity to do exactly that. But it's all square, 6 points apiece. Bailey with his 2 serves to come. So in the group stage of this para-men's singles, 8 players, 2 groups of 4, and the top 2 players in each group progressing through to the semi-finals later on this afternoon. So everything to play for. Bailey with an 8-7 lead. Again, the backhand topspin, very consistent from Shilton. And what a great angle, as we'll see on the replay here, how wide he gets it to Bailey's forehand. There it goes. A world-class backhand topspin from the 20-year-old. And Shilton, at the business end of this first game, takes a 1-point lead, 9-8 in favour of the youngster. That is causing Bailey quite a few problems. The Shilton backhand topspin out wide to the forehand, of course. Shilton, of course, left-handed player, so that backhand on the diagonals out wide to Bailey's forehand. Bailey, a right-handed player. A little bit of good fortune for Will there. That long push, the idea of a long push was a good one, but he was slightly fortunate, as we see there on the replay. Just catches the edge of the table. And then that forehand topspin, he has missed that a few times this game, Billy Shilton. And so, 10 points apiece. Alternate serving now, and it's the first player to win 2 clear points. And that's 3 consecutive points for Will Bailey. Don't forget, he was 10-8 down. He leads 11-10. And it's a game point for the gentleman on the screen there. This time, superb forehand topspin from Shilton, going down the line as well. So important that players move the ball around the table, and that forehand topspin down the line. Great tactics, a well-executed shot. So 11 points apiece. Bailey with the serve. Relentless pressure from Bailey. held his ground, stayed close to the table, forced Shilton away from the table, as we can see on the replay there. So second game point for Bailey, 12-11. But it's Shilton with the serve. Slight advantage to the server. And again, that forehand topspin this time down the line. Will Bailey, third game point. Will it be third time lucky? We're just about to find out. Bailey will be a little bit disappointed there. He got in with the top spin. $13 points apiece. A little bit fortunate there. Shilton pointing to the forehand side of the table. That's where he should have put the ball. Here he goes, but he goes on the diagonal, and he has missed a few on that diagonal. The last few points, he's played some wonderful topspins down the line with his forehand. Some of the spectators here enjoying this exciting game, and indeed, Will Bailey has called a timeout. Each player has the opportunity to call one timeout during the match. It's a 1-minute breaking play, often used to break the momentum of the opponent if the opponent races off to a big start. But here Bailey just wants to put the pressure on Shilton. He's got another game point. Let's just let the youngster dwell on the fact I've got a game point, says Will Bailey, but he's not used the full minute. Just composed himself, and let's see if this works, if the timeout works for Bailey. And it has. Will Bailey takes the first game, 15-13. Great first game. Both players, I thought, played exceptionally well. A very even contest. The young pretender there, slightly disappointed. Long way to go. Remember, it's the best of 5 games. First player to win 3 games, and indeed, it's Will Bailey. And there he is, who has taken the first game by 15 points to 13. So a 1-minute break takes place in between the games. Players go back to the corner, often to take advice from their coaches, their respective coaches. No coaches in action here. These two players know each other inside out, train at the National Centre in Sheffield together. And indeed it is Shilton to serve at the start of the second game. The idea was good from Shilton, good positive tactics there. The forehand topspin down the line didn't quite come off for him. A little bit of topspin on the service there. You can see the back brush across the top of the ball slightly. That's what gives it the topspin. Oh, again, a little bit of good fortune for Bailey. Well played, Shilton. Spraying the ball around the table. There's the forehand. And that's a great backhand topspin. Bailey does well to get his bat on the ball. And then, unfortunately for Shilton, it drops on the edge of the table. Bailey 2-1 in the lead. Good positive start from Bailey. Backhand to backhand rally down the line. Bailey coming out on top. This is a good start for the 31-year-old, the Paralympic champion. I've commentated at the last two Paralympics, in London and then in Rio. In London, Will lost in the final to a German player and then went one better in Rio, beating the Brazilian player in the final. His best mate, Johnny Vegas, was there watching him win that medal, that gold medal in Rio. I think Shilton there just asking the umpire, was that a let serve? They don't come any fairer than Will Bailey, I can assure you. If that touched the net, Will will be the first to admit that it did. Score 5-2. Will Bailey with his second serve coming up. A wry smile on the face of Shilton there. He realises he's under the cosh a little bit here. Not quite got in with the strong backhand and forehand topspins that he did in the first game. Remember, he led in that first game, 10-8. Again, it's those very consistent, aggressive forehand topspins from Bailey, moving the ball around the table. Here we go. First one down the line, and that one takes the point. Two serves coming up for Bailey. Clever topspin there. Didn't go for the pace. Came up the back of the ball, as we'll see on the replay. There he goes, lifts it. A lot of topspin on the ball. Not as much speed. Good variation from the Paralympic champion. And Bailey getting in full swing now with the grunts. Top class rally there, consistent topspins from both players. But the momentum clearly now with Will Bailey. Remember, best of 5 games. First player to win 3 wins the match. Oh, superb backhand topspin. Bailey got in with a good topspin, as we'll see on the replay. Is the Bailey topspin and then the counter topspin with the backhand from Billy Shilton. And that's 2 points out of 2 on the Shilton service. Gives him a slight lifeline. Can he take 2 points against the serve now? And he just misreads the spin. A little bit of topspin on the service from Bailey there. Shilton just lifted a little bit. Thought there was a bit of backspin on the ball. So he lifts it off the end of the table. And that is 5 game points for Will Bailey. And again, throwing the ball up. Taking the pace off the ball, and Bailey takes the second game 11-5, and he now leads by 2-0. So there he is. Will Bailey. Typical performance by Bailey this. He showed a lot of guts in the first game, came from 10-8 down. Here we see him just playing good, consistent topspins. Good, consistent, powerful play. Trademark Bailey. So the players now back at the table. It's the third game. Bailey leads by 2-0. And it's the right-handed Bailey with the service. Shilton had a great Commonwealth Games. Out on the Gold Coast in April last year, 2018. Suddenly showed what a force he is in the world of para-table tennis. So close against the two English players, Kim Daybell and the new superstar, Ross Wilson. Came very close to causing a major upset. And that's a good attitude there, the smile. He knows he's giving it his best. It's all you can do as a player. You go out there, give it your best. Bailey there just looking for that backhand flick. Just overhit it slightly. You'll see that again. No backspin there, just floated the ball over with that service action. Very little spin. Second serve coming up for Bailey. 3-2 down. 6 points have progressed. Both players entitled to use the towel. Will Bailey doing exactly that. Both these players, member of the British Paralympic squad, have had a very successful time in London and in Rio at the Paralympics, and are well funded by UK Sport and the lottery, enabling these two to play full-time, train full-time at the English Institute of Sport in Sheffield. And of course, both these two will be working hard now with Tokyo in mind. Rio, the British squad, came back with 2 gold medals. Will Bailey bringing one of those home. And they'll be looking if they can to improve on that in Tokyo. 6-5, Shilton with a 1-point lead midway through this third game. A further 6 points have progressed. Will Bailey again, just very quickly toweling down. Oh, that backhand topspin is wonderful. See it again on the replay. He holds his ground. He's not backing off. And indeed, on this one, here it comes, the backhand coming up in a second. There. What a super shot. A And now Shilton turning the tables. He leads 9-5 in the third game. Bailey 1 game away from victory. Shilton clawing his way back into this match. And indeed, that's 5 game points for the 20-year-old from Stonehouse. Again, the backhand working wonders for Shilton, and he takes the third game 11 points to 5. And this final match at the group stage has Will Bailey 2-1 in the lead. Really was some wonderful rallies there in that third game, and it was Shilton who dominated really from the early stages all the way through. So Will Bailey's got his work cut out now. But of course Shilton has to win 2 consecutive games. Will Bailey just needs the 1. Bailey takes the first point. It's just worth mentioning, I think, just to clarify the classification situation. At the Paralympics, there is a gold medal for Class 6, for Class 7, 8, 9, 10, and indeed 11. As we mentioned earlier, Billy Shilton plays in Class 8, and Will Bailey plays in Class 7. 6 to 10 are standing players, and 6 players classified 6 have the least mobility. Players classified 10 have the most in the standing classes. So if this was the Paralympics, these two wouldn't be playing against each other. But I'm glad they are here because it is a very exciting game. Shriek of delight there from Will Bailey. Means a lot to Will here to do well. Of course, we're looking at a current Paralympic champion and a former world champion. And now with Bailey leading 4-2, a timeout has been called by Billy Shilton. Probably just senses Bailey getting a little bit on top. He's 2 points adrift at 4-2. Still a lot can happen in this fourth game. And Shilton just deciding to take a slight pause in play. The person who calls the timeout, when they come back to the table, and it may be after only 20 seconds, 30 seconds, the maximum is a minute, then the opponent has to come back. Shilton there used about 30 seconds. That's all he needed, just to break the play a little bit, but now ready for action again. what a good shot there from Will Bailey. What a good angle with that backhand. Out wide to the left-handed Shilton's forehand. Here it comes. There it goes. First one down the line, second one out on the diagonal. Bailey now with a 5-3 lead. Will Bailey, of course, from Tunbridge Wells. And on screen there, Billy Shilton, as we've mentioned, from Stonehouse, which of course is in Gloucestershire. Oh, there's a little bit of good fortune for Shilton. That backhand block just catching the edge of the table. We'll see it on the replay. Whoop, net and edge. Hit the net, flipped it onto the edge. Oh, and that's a great forehand topspin down the line from Shilton. 6 points apiece. Shilton, 2 serves to come. Momentum now back with the youngster. Recovers well. Seven points apiece. As you can see on the screen, it is the 4th game. Bailey leads by 2 games to 1, and it's the best of 5. So Bailey now 4 points from victory. That's a good serve from Bailey. The second bounce was just around the baseline. Shilton slightly hesitated. Wasn't sure whether the second bounce was going to be on the table or not. And this time, heavy backspin on the Bailey service. Fast accelerating wrist, brushing underneath the ball. 9-7. Bailey 2 points away from victory, but Shilton now has his 2 serves. Bearing in mind, Bailey will have his 2 serves at the end of this game. Shilton could really do to take both these points. Oh, and that net cord again favouring Shilton. It's a good backhand topspin from Bailey. And Shilton, the first to acknowledge his good fortune. Tend to find at the end of a match, good fortune has equally favoured both players. And indeed, Shilton takes 2 out of 2 with the service. And so at the business end of the 4th game, it is 9 points apiece. Two big points now for both players. Again, the net cord from Shilton. Will Bailey shakes his head in dismay. Did everything right here, Bailey, but you could see clearly there on the replay, the net cord makes the ball wobble. Changes the trajectory of the ball. Oh, and that backhand topspin, it's been so reliable during this match. Just lets Shilton down. There he goes. You'd have backed him to make that one, but it is now 10 points apiece. What a match this has been. Full of drama, full of excitement. 10 points apiece. So are we heading for a 5th and final game? It looks very much as though we could be 1 point away from a fifth and final, but Will Bailey has the serve. Oh, clever service there from Bailey. Little short serve. Might even have been a little bit of topspin on the serve. Very difficult to serve short with topspin. 11 points apiece. Oh, Bailey did all the hard work there, created the opportunity for the forehand topspin, and then overhit it slightly off the end of the table. So Shilton, third game point in this fourth game to level it at 2 games apiece. And there we have it. Billy Shilton takes the fourth game 13-11. He was always behind. Remember, he called a timeout at 4-2 down. And now 2 games apiece, and we await the fifth and final game. So here we go, the start of the fifth and final game. The Paralympic champion to serve. First point to Billy Shilton. Very close to the edge of the table, but it missed. Will Bailey sighs with relief. 3-1, good start by Will Bailey. Heavy backspin on the Bailey service. 4-1. The players will change ends when the first player makes 5 points. Psychologically for Bailey, to change ends at 5-1 would be perfect, and indeed that is what is about to happen. It's the deciding game. So they'll change ends at 5-1 in favour of Will Bailey. Both players have used their timeout, so there's no more timeouts. Suspect if Shilton had a timeout, he'd probably have used it round about 4-1, 3-1, 4-1. But of course, you're only allowed, each player has 1 timeout. Good control by Bailey there. He contained Shilton well. Shilton got in with strong topspins. Bailey anticipated the direction well, was in position, guided the ball back. 6-2. Bailey with his 2 serves to come. Good rally there. There's the relentless pressure from Will Bailey that paid dividends. Great rally. Shilton hanging on. Of course, 2 points here with the serve. Could be very useful. That's the first point. This point would put a bit of pressure on the Bailey serve. And the backhand block off the end of the table. Good spin from Shilton. Remember, they changed ends at 5-1. It's now 7-5. Bailey taking his time. Very clever tactical player there, keeping the ball tight. Heavy backspin on the push. Eight-5. Second serve coming up. Oh, what a shot. That backhand. This one coming up now. This is a tremendous shot. Right on the white line. 8-6. Can he build on that last point? You just sense here the momentum now, slowly but surely changing as Shilton claws his way back into this 5th and final game. What a contest this has been. Two outstanding players. Oh, this time good fortune favours Will Bailey. The backhand block on the diagonal hits the edge of the table, raises his arm, acknowledges his good fortune. There it is. 9-7. Bailey with his 2 serves. Oh, the serve drifted long. Allowed Shilton to play a strong topspin return. We'll see that again on the replay. That's the serve that goes long immediately. Will Bailey's blocking on the backhand. He's under pressure down the backhand side. 9-8. What a brave serve there. Long, fast serve into the forehand, inviting the topspin. A braver man than me, for sure, Will Bailey. So, Shilton now faces 2 match points. And that's the first match point saved. This really has been an exciting contest. Can he save the second match point? Yes, he can. And what is so encouraging is that he saved it by being very positive, being aggressive, looking to get in with the strong topspin. So, here we are. 10 points apiece. Fifth and final game. Alternate serving. First player to win 2 clear points. And again, full march to Billy Shilton there. That backhand topspin. Took his chance when he got it. So that's 3 consecutive points for the 20-year-old from Gloucestershire. He's now serving for the match. Oh, and Will Bailey saves a match point. Punches the air. This means a lot to both players. 2-all, 11-all. Bailey with the serve. And again, that long, fast serve with backspin. Shilton not quite lifting the ball sufficiently. Bailey now, 3rd match point. And he's done it. Will Bailey takes the 5th and final game. 13 points to 11, and I have to say, that was a wonderful match of table tennis. 2 great sportsmen playing a wonderful game. Could have gone either way. Both players had match points, but indeed, there he is. The Paralympic champion, the gold medalist from Rio, edging his way to victory. But I have to say, the future of British para table tennis in very good hands with these 2 players. Just some of the highlights from the match. You can see how both players playing good, positive, aggressive table tennis. It wasn't a case of keep the ball on the table, hope your opponent makes a mistake. Both players being tactically very astute. At the same time playing controlled, aggressive table tennis. A wonderful match. It's a pity both players can't claim the victory. There it is. Jubilation for Will Bailey. And you have to admire Billy Shilton there. So close, still can smile. That's a great sign. He enjoys the game. He's going to stick around, that's for sure. And I can see great things for Billy Shilton going forward. So there we have confirmation. Will Bailey, the victor, by 3 games to 2. In the para class 7 to 10. And so now we join the men's singles, and it is the round of last 16, and we have Liam Pitchford in action here. Liam Pitchford, of course, the #1 seed, has had an absolutely outstanding 12 months, which has seen him shoot up to number 23 in the world. Playing in the blue shirt on the left of the screen, and his opponent from Leeds, Cheyenne Siraj. Only 17 years of age. What a wonderful opportunity for him to be playing one of the best players in the world on centre court here at the PG Mutual National Championships at the University of Nottingham. Right-handed player, as I say, from Leeds, and he's currently ranked at number 21. So Liam Pitchford, of course, ranked at #1. Pitchford is from Chesterfield, currently lives in Sweden, playing in the Swedish National League. Played in the last 2 Olympic Games, Pitchford, in London and in Rio. Has a great record at the Commonwealth Games. He won a gold medal in men's doubles in Australia on the Gold Coast in April of last year. And he's taken 4 silver medals. The first one he won was back in Delhi in 2010 at the Commonwealth Games. I think we can say it was in Delhi when he turned everybody's heads when he won 2 medals when only 17 years of age. So again, we have a men's singles contest. This time it's the best of 7 games. Pitchford, 2-1 in the lead. I have to say, you look at some of Pitchford's wins in 2018 and you can't help be impressed. He beat the Olympic and world champion Marlon in the Bulgarian Open. He beat Dmitry Ovcharov, former world #1 in the Czech Open. The legend of European table tennis, Timo Boll, in the Austrian Open. The young superstar on the scene now that everybody's talking about, Tomokazu Harimoto from Japan, took him out twice in the World Team Championships and the Team World Cup. Samsonov, the legend from Belarus, just to name a few of the scalps that Liam Pitchford took. And of course, Pitchford will be looking forward to the World Championships in April in Budapest. And I really do feel there's no one that Pitchford should fear. Of course, there are lots of great players who will be there, but Pitchford's one of them. And I'm sure Liam will be doing his best to make England proud. But Siraj has done well. He's holding his own in this first game, 4-all. Just missing that backhand topspin down the line. Good, consistent tops player is the teenager from Leeds. It's interesting that they've changed the system this year for the English closed championships. There was a qualification tournament in Preston. The top 20 players qualify on their ranking. The qualification tournament took place at the University of Central Lancashire earlier this year, and a further 10 players qualified, and there were 2 wild card places, so a total of 32. And the other thing that's interesting is that the top 8 seeds went straight through to this stage, to the stage of the last 16. So this is Pitchford's first game in the tournament. He'll have practiced very hard over the last few days here in Nottingham at the University of Nottingham, the David Ross Sports Village. And sometimes it just takes a little bit of time to get into the swing of things, to get used to the tables, the playing conditions. It's one thing in practice, but it's always good to get a few games under your belt as well. So Pitchford leading 8-7. Cheyenne Siraj doing extremely well. He's holding the #1 seed to within 1 point, 8-7. The serve drifted long. Pitchford just over hitting the topspin. Some of the youngsters, the autograph hunters. And now this first game, it's all square. 9 points apiece. Players are entitled to towel down every 6 points. Now Pitchford with his 2 serves to come. And that's a game point for Siraj. Good backhand topspin from Pitchford there, under pressure, facing a game point. Very quick action, good use of elbow and wrist from Pitchford. So it's now 10 points apiece. First player to win 2 clear points, alternate serving as well. And that now gives Liam Pitchford his first game point. He leads 11-10. And that's a well-placed backhand topspin down the line from Pitchford. He'll be pleased to get that first game under his belt. His first game of this tournament. As I mentioned in commentary, top 8 seeds straight through to the stage of last 16. So the players now go back to their respective corners, have a chat with the coaches. Certainly the teenager from Leeds has put up an excellent performance in this first game, had a game point. He led 10-9. Good, positive player. Didn't hold back there, went for his shots. And there he is in his corner. Natalie Green, formerly Natalie Borden, one of England's top junior and senior players during her playing career. So Pitchford with the service at the start of the second game. Remember, best of 7. First player to win 4 games, and it's 1-0 for Liam Pitchford. Pitchford was, of course, a member of the England team that in 2016 got a bronze medal at the World Team Championships in Kuala Lumpur. And Pitchford played a leading role there with Paul Drinkle and Sam Walker, all 3 of them contributing massively to to that bronze medal. They could so easily have beaten Japan as well in the semi-final. And I have to say that Pitchford's backhand in particular is arguably one of the best in the game now. When he's flowing, going for his shots, his backhand topspin is second to none.
3-1.
Of course, that team then added a Team World Cup bronze in 2018 on home soil at the Copper Box in London. Good deception from Pitchford there.
1-5.
And you just wonder now whether, having got that first game under his belt, Pitchford just a little bit more relaxed. He's got off to a good start. What a great flick return of service there. Just used the wrist, went through the back of the ball. And this time again, that deception looks as though he's going into the right-hander's forehand at the last minute, changes the angle of the racket. There it goes, and it goes wide into the backhand. And very free-flowing backhand and forehand topspins from the former number 23 in the world, a position he achieved in October of last year, and indeed the number 1 seed here at the University of Nottingham. Again, a good attitude here from the Leeds teenager. He's playing every point as it comes there. He's looking to be positive. He's looking to get in, and that was a super play. Good footwork, got round on the backhand side. Played a rocket forehand topspin down the line. There it goes. Top player in the world or not, he wasn't going to get that one back. And there's that backhand. Held his ground, didn't back off too far. Very strong backhand. Counter topspin down the line. Gives Pitchford 7 game points. And so Pitchford takes the first game 11 points to the second game, I should say, sorry. Of course, he took the first game by the narrowest of margins. Saved a game point, but a very convincing win there, 11-3 for Liam Pitchford. Highlights from the second game. And a little bit more relaxed Liam Pitchford there. Now 2-0 up, a mountain to climb for Siraj from Leeds. But he's done well to get here to this stage. And I have to say, full of admiration for his performance so far. Game point in the first game. Gutsy performance and some great shots from him in the second game. But of course now up against one of the world's best and 2-0 down. It's a tough one. Good start by the teenager. Ball just dropping a little bit there. 3-1. Three points apiece. Oh, good rally. Excellent play by both players. And it was the forehand topspin down the line that wins the point for Pitchford. Unlucky. Siraj there, step round. Perhaps slightly cramped when he played the shot. Just see on the replay. Here he goes, he's stepping round. Maybe leaning slightly, lost a little bit of control. That backhand topspin well placed, right down the middle of the table. Siraj not sure where to play backhand or forehand. You see there, he went for backhand, then he changed to forehand. And of course, at this level, once you hesitate, it costs you the point. 6-3. That's 6 consecutive points now for Pitchford. Oh, wonderful play there. The counter topspin. Siraj doing nothing wrong there. He did well. He got in behind his serve. There he goes. But what can you do against that? Not a lot. 7-3. Again, that forehand counter topspin by Pitchford. Makes it look so easy, but that's what world-class players do. 9-3. Seven game points.
10-4.
Let service. 10-4. Siraj doing well there, forcing Pitchford away from the table. Took his time. Picked out the smash. Oh, the serve drifted long. Pitchford pounces on the opportunity, takes the third game, 11 points to 6. And Pitchford now leads by 3 games to 0. Again, a good performance by the teenager from Leeds. Started well, led 3-love. Took 3 points on the bounce at the end of that game. Words of wisdom from the coach. And a few highlights from that third game. And so we're back live, and it's the start of the fourth game. And a great combination there. Backhand topspin, steps round, forehand topspin down the line. That'll be a routine that Liam has practiced probably a million times in the training hall. Stepping round the backhand, forehand topspin down the line. Bread and butter for a world-class player. 2-love. And it's now Siraj with his 2 serves. And what a performance he's put in. Not easy coming on centre court, playing against one of the top players in the world, let alone in England, the #1 seed. And he's shown what he's capable of doing. But of course, what you need to do when you're playing a world-class player, you have to hang on in there. Once they get a few points ahead, then it's really tough to come back. And so, Pitchford now easing his way to victory in this fourth game. 6 points out of 6 so far. Siraj with the 2 serves. Again, you have to admire the 17-year-old. He's taking every point as it comes, looking to get in when he can. He did well there. He's still in with a chance this point. But Pitchford has become one of the finest players in the world. Topspin against topspin when he's away from the table, particularly with that such a strong backhand topspin.
7-2.
Again, that backhand steps round. In fact, he played the first one with his forehand, so he stepped round early in the rally there. 8-2.
3-8.
Liam Pitchford, 25 years of age. Still room for improvement, and how far can this Chesterfield player go? 23's in the world's his highest so far. He's got a World Championships coming up in April in Budapest, Hungary. A good performance there, could see him move into the top 20. And then it's only a small step to become one of the top 10 players in the world. (9-5) now. Pitchford 2 points away from a place in the quarterfinals. Quarterfinals, we'll see the players in action later this afternoon. And so 5 match points. And there it is. Steps round the backhand, forehand topspin down the line, and Liam Pitchford takes the 4th and final game, 11 points to 5, and he's through to this afternoon's quarterfinals. Worth mentioning the performance of his opponent from Leeds, 17 years of age, 21 in the country, in England. Put up an excellent performance, had a game point in the first game. Who knows if he'd have won that first game? But he didn't. And Pitchford through in 4 straight games. highlights from the match to enjoy. And there we have confirmation, 4-0. Liam Pitchford through to the quarterfinals, and we'll be back for further action at 2:30. And we will be on BBC Online, and it will be the para men's singles semi-final. Lots more to look forward to, and see you later.